Okay. Should be getting a sense of how I do these things. That means that I will take the definitions that you have learned through junior high and freshman year and fine-tune them. Now, what did I add to the conflict definitions last time to really fine-tune your understanding of conflict? Remember those definitions? What was in there that I really focused you on in understanding conflicts? Josiah? Excellent, Josiah. Focusing on goals or interests. So, yeah, goals or interests, whichever. So I said, don't say it's this person versus this person. Say it's this person's interest versus this person's interest. And that'll focus you on detail, specifically what's going on. With character, I'm going to do something very similar. I'll focus your definition, so it'll be easier to write about. But let's start with what you know. What's your definition for character? Somebody give me what they understand character to be in literature. Sarah.
Not necessarily a person, but it could be a story that plays a role.
Excellent. Sarah, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the distinction that we usually make in philosophy. It's not necessarily a human, but it would be a person. We would call sometimes a non-human thing a person, but we wouldn't call them human. So you're absolutely right in where you were going, but let's clarify those terms. What does it mean to be a person? What do people have that inanimate objects don't have, Sarah? Personalities, voices. Excellent. I love it. You're right on track. Sarah's definition is perfect. Here is the fancy Clarksonian language to give you something that looks a little bit confusing, but don't worry. I'll unpack it for you so you understand it. I'll pause so you can copy that down, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of help with understanding this fancy definition. A literary representation of a person composed of behavioral traits, psychological dimensions, and motivations. You think so? I like it. What do I mean by literary representation? Jazz? Your whisper sounded correct to me. Say it loud. Like books, right. So we're talking about something that appears in literature. All right, good enough. Of a person. We already discussed what a person is with Sarah. What are behavioral traits? Somebody give me maybe an example. Yeah, Shelby.
Like how someone acts.
Very good. How you tend to act. Shelby? Yeah, your attitude. Excellent. Shelby, can you give me a behavioral trait of yourself?
I can mean, I guess.
Oh, okay. So, nice. Shelby, admitting something you might not want to admit. You can be mean or cruel. Excellent. That is a behavioral trait. Very good. Psychological dimensions. The way your brain works. This stapler has no brain. Therefore, it has no psychological dimension. It does not act on its own. Therefore, it has no behavioral trait. And because it doesn't have either of those, it can't have a motivation. This stapler doesn't want anything. Do you remember what it's called if I suddenly say that it wants something? If I give it that characteristic when it doesn't have that characteristic, really? Like I'm walking around and suddenly I trip on the chair and I say, man, that chair knocked me over on purpose. Like it has a motivation. What do we call that? Nice, Connor. Thank you very much. Personification. But that's your definition. It's a person in a story and it always has behavioral traits, some sort of way of thinking, and a desire. Some important principles. Remember with plot, I gave you the important principles that it is always about time and that conflict drives it. In character, principle number 1 is something that Sarah already talked about. Characters are not always human. Don't think person means human. All right, here we go with the list. Give me examples of non-human characters that you're familiar with in literature or film or anywhere else. Sarah? Beauty and the Beast. There's a whole host of them in there, right? Everything from wardrobes and teacups up to beast-like animals. Josiah? Pinocchio, nice. I want to be a real boy, but I am not yet. I am still a character, even though I am a puppet. Jasmine? Winnie the Pooh, yes. Only one human character in that being Christopher Robin. All the rest are non-human stuffed animals. Yeah, Shelby?
I'm not sure the name of the dinosaur movie I remember.
Oh, The Land Before Time, part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, what are they up to, like 17 now? Something like that. Not a single human character in that, but peopled by non-human dinosaur characters. Excellent. Amanda? Shrek. Yes, a number of all sorts of different types. You've got talking animals, you have fairy tale monsters, you have humans. Very good. Zach? Toy Story. Good example. Connor? Jungle Book. Nice. SpongeBob. Oh. You'll find that I have nothing but a deep affection and love and almost awe of SpongeBob. I think it's one of the most brilliant cartoons I've ever watched. Daniel, did you?
I was going to say SpongeBob.
You were going to say SpongeBob? All right. Character's not always human. Characters always demonstrate both traits and motivations. They always have traits and they always want something. Even if that desire is just to sit there and do nothing. It's still a desire. In order to understand a character, you don't understand their name, you don't understand how they look, you don't understand their job. All of that is unimportant to the core of their personhood, their character, their being. What you care about is their traits and their motivations. Something much more personal. So, Shelby gave us an example of a trait. She said mean. I used the word cruel. Give me other character traits. Just list them off. Josiah. Shy. Excellent. That works. Nice.
Wild.
I'm sorry?
Wild.
Wild. Excellent. I like that. Outgoing. Very good. Affectionate. More? Pessimistic. Ooh. Optimistic. Wow. He said, she said. Good. What else we got? Enthusiastic. You guys are doing really well. Have you noticed that every single one of you gave me a word that is just like the other words? Do you know how? Every single one of you gave me a word that is just like the others. That is true. Connor, I want you to take it a step further and think, oh, Connor, you're making me happy today. I'm going to be there at open house tonight with a big smile on my face talking about Connor and his knowledge of grammar. Right over here, behind Jake, you're going to see on the board all 8 parts of speech. You will find that I consider grammar to be essential to thinking. So if you understand grammar, you'll understand thought. Here's one of the ways in which that happens. Character traits are adjectives. Somebody in third period asked, well, is anger management a character trait? And I said, no. And I threw it out to the class, and I asked the class, why is it not a character trait? And somebody came up with, it's a noun. Nouns cannot be character traits because they do not describe. Adjectives describe. Jake.
How is red an adjective?
You have a book that is red? Yeah, it's a red book. Red can also be a noun, Jake, by being red, the color. Sometimes words can be both nouns and adjectives. It's an excellent pickup. So we're looking for traits, and traits are adjectives that we use to describe character. My honor students just finished a test, and they wrote, and one of those writings was about character, and many students lost points because they never included an adjective-based character trait when they were talking about the character. And as far as I'm concerned, you're not talking about a character if you're not talking about an adjective-based character trait. So in your notes, even though it's not up here on the board, you may wish to write down traits are always adjectives. It'll help you with your writing.